Excellent. So I'm Dr. Emily, and today we're going to talk about your roadmap to earn 7K in 7 days with a brand new offer. All right. I am super excited. I have never, ever taught this before. So I'm so excited to share it with you today. All right. So if you can, if you're in the chat, if you're here live, let us know. Give me emoji, right? Drop me a note. Where are you from in the chat? And I want to make sure that we are really like serving you today and helping you get launched and get started. All right. So welcome. Great to see you. Awesome sauce, folks. So I'm super excited. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be walking you through how to create 7K in 7 days. Awesome. No worries. Awesome, Mitch. Great to see you from New Zealand. So, so good. And so I've never actually taught this before. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to share a little bit about my story so you understand like why is this lady on the screen talking to me about launching, right? And I'm going to show you how I do it, right? So let's dive right in. So who am I to be talking to you about launching? Okay. So I was a professor. I taught people how to program like computers. Like what am I doing teaching about launching? So a while ago, I decided to quit my job as a professor and become an entrepreneur. I went from like total job security because I was tenured to like no job security, which is the life of an entrepreneur. And I started by launching, right? Learning how to get people in the door to help them become aware of what I could do and what I could offer, and then teaching them how to do that. So I'm a mom of five, just full disclosure. So I had to keep my launches simple. Believe me, I tried some that were exhausting, like 5 day challenges that were really 10 days in disguise. It was like full time, 20 hour, like 40-hour weeks trying to launch. It was awful. It was awful. And so then I hit on this, webinar method, what we're doing right now, right? Where I would, invite people in, I'd talk about what I do, and then I would teach them something and say, hey, do you want to keep going on this journey? And so that process, I started running live launches back in 2019, and I've run them solo for sizes of under 500 people in a room. And with team members, like I've run webinars, I think I had like over 2,500 registrants at my biggest webinar or biggest launch. And so my first business, I grew from zero to multiple millions in less than 3 years using this launch model that I'm showing you today. And in fact, the way I learned this launch model was from a woman who used it for 7-figure days. Now, I haven't had a 7-figure day. I've only had a 6-figure day, right? But I paid her $25,000 to learn what I'm about to teach you today. Okay. Just for credibility, I was on the Blocks TV show, season 20 for entrepreneurs. I can't tell you how I did. I did well in the competition, but I can't tell you just how well because it hasn't been released yet and we're under confidentiality. My business number two, you're in it, right, is Hill Marketing, the Launch Factory. And this is where 7K in 7 days lives. I also have a side hustle as a church singer. So I keep it real. I do lots of things. I have lots of interests. I don't want to sit here getting new clients all day long. I don't want to sit here launching all day long. I want to just do my business, do my thing, and move forward. All right. So who's in for that? Just out of curiosity, who is ready for an approach to like launch a business and grow a business that doesn't take them all day long? Is anyone in the mood for that? Just drop it in the chat. Give me a thumbs up emoji. Let me know. All right. Super, super sweet. So what we're going to talk about today, okay? And just so you guys know, actually, I'm going to drop this link in the chat. I actually have been documenting my complete roadmap for you guys that I've been going through this whole week. Like it's totally meta. Like I was prepping for the launch and I was recording everything I was doing. So I'm going to drop this link in I think, or the join link. Let's see if I can drop, I don't know if that'll be the join link. Let me see if I can grab this join link for you folks. All right, I'm going to drop it in the chat. So there's even more trainings than what I'm going to give you right now live today. Right now I'm live to answer questions, but have you guys ever seen that where you go to a training and then you have a question later? So this training is basically everything I've done leading up to this launch and also how I would close it out. It includes a bonus sales training, right? So basically I'm trying to make it very self-contained so you have everything you need to be successful right away so you don't have to wait. All right, folks. Sweet. Excellent. So everybody gets access to that. Pretty awesome. Okay. So this is a pretty bold claim. Does it seem like a bold claim to anybody? 7K in 7 days. Yeah, for reals. Now, let me also explain. This launch process is so simple. It can be, once it's set up, right? It takes a little bit of tech setup, but once it's set up, you can literally run it every week. And if you can run it every week, that means you can have a consistent way to grow your business, right? So would you can run it every week. What I recommend is that you take a week to plan it out and then a week to launch it the first time because there's going to be more tech setup. If you want, I can show you guys later. I do have an opportunity if you want to work with me on your launch. There's a pathway to doing that. But I would plan out the launch and then I would launch it and then I'd run it again. And depending on how successful and how close you were to the outcome you wanted, you could run it the next week or you could run it 2 weeks later, right? Depending on how big you need to grow. Like in the beginning phases, we just have guesses on how big we need our event to be to generate 7K. But once we've run it once, we have some numbers about show up rates. So for instance, I didn't know how many people would show up today, right? So I don't know what my conversion rate is going to be. I'm guessing based on industry averages. And then I'm going to see was I above or below that? And I'm going to tweak it and go from there. So the roadmap is 7K in 7 days, but you might run it twice, right? Especially if like you've never done this before, you might not get there the first week, but okay, you can get there the second week. Like, is that cool? Like, would people be down with that if they could earn 7K maybe the first time, but for sure you can fix it for the second time? Are people cool with that? Would that be something you guys would be interested in learning? Like a repetitive process that's easy enough that you can just keep doing it over and over and over again, creating 7K on autopilot. Who's down for that? Just let me know. Give me a thumbs up in the chat or emoji reaction. All right, folks. Awesome. Awesome sauce. So basically, the launch roadmap, it has to be super simple. I've set it up so that it's no more than 2 hours a day. To be honest, I think it took me, let's see, I think this was me recording myself doing this like every day. So maybe I worked for like 40 minutes, 10 to 15 another day. And this day is longer because I actually explained how I build a presentation. So other than building the actual content that you're sharing live, this is like maybe 30 to 45 minutes. Plus there's some other activities that we recommend to really, guarantee success, to really set yourself up for success. So this doesn't have to be long and difficult. It doesn't have to be drawn out. The purpose of this is specifically for new offers to test them quickly and get job quitting money. Who would like job quitting money? Let me know in the chat. Give me a thumbs up or an emoji. That's what I want to see, right? Like it's cool to run a business for like a side hustle, but ideally you'd want to create something that you love so much and it's so popular and successful, wildly successful, that you can actually quit your day job, right? That's the goal. Awesome. Yeah, Mitch, create it and walk away. Or you can do it passive, right? So like either way, there's a couple different pathways you can take. So how do we do this, right? So please, if you haven't, join the school group for the full trainings, like everything I'm talking about today. I have even more details in there so that you can actually execute this. So how does it look? All right. So the first day, day zero, that's today, right? We're figuring out the lay of the land. Then the most important thing you're going to do next is figure out your offer. Like, what do you have of value that you can offer the world? And guys, like I have set aside a full block of time. It's not going to take us 2 hours to go over this material. If you want to workshop your offers or think about like how you'd position yourself in the market or reach out to people, like we can actually do that live as like a workshop today. So totally cool. Like you guys are here and you showed up, so I can workshop with you if you'd like to dive into it. So usually what I start with, because to be honest, I launch offers all the time. I'm always testing offers and then I'm seeing which ones hit, which ones are successful, and I go from there. So what you're going to start with is who do you know? Who do you know? A lot of people that are a certain, like what demographics, what groups are you a part of? Because who you know, the first time you launch is going to be the friends and family round, right? Where you're really reaching out and leaning on your connections. Because if you can't sell to people who already know you, it's going to be even harder to sell to people that don't know you, right? Because part of sales and making money is that people pay for value and they pay people that they like, know, and trust. So first round, we're going to test your offer on who you know. Then we're going to figure out what are you good at, right? Now, if you're not sure, I do have an opportunity where you could potentially sell what I'm selling, right? And then you don't have to worry about delivery. You could do other types of affiliate marketing, totally cool. So you don't have to have an offer, but you need to identify the offer that you're going to sell, if that makes sense, right? And then we want to make your offer as juicy as possible. So like basically what we're looking for is an offer so good that you feel silly not taking it, right? Like that your ideal client feels like, oh, this is a no-brainer. Like, of course I would do this, right? And in fact, for this offer, I actually sold it before I even created the sales page. And so that's how I knew I was onto something with this particular offer because it was already selling even when it didn't exist yet, right? It was just in my head. And that's the way good offers like launch is they connect and they sell. So that's your first job is to figure out the offer. And time permitting, we can do that together today. Totally cool with that. Then you're going to reverse engineer your launch. Okay. There are some numbers here. I'm a computer scientist. I'm not afraid of numbers, but it's super simple. I've made it super simple. I can show you guys today what that looks like. It's not a problem. Basically, if you can use a calculator, you can figure out the numbers that you need, right? The targets. And so you're going to brainstorm how many people do you need to hit the numbers, right? So your offer is a couple things, right? Your offer is what am I offering, right? What a thing of value can I offer? Could be somebody else's thing of value, could be your own, right? Whatever you like. And then who do you know? But also the price point, right? So you have a price point at which you hit 7K and you want to make sure that you're doing this worksheet and you're planning out your launch with that goal in mind, right? With that goal in mind. And then you run it once end to end and you see what happens. And sometimes it's awesome. And sometimes it needs tweaking. It needs more work. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you can run it in a week, you can turn around and do it again. So you can rapidly learn. And by the end of 30 days, you should actually have a validated offer with potentially income coming in that's job quitting money. Like imagine if you could have job quitting money in the next 30 days. Like that's incredible. It's so fast. It doesn't have to take long, but it does require a couple repetitions and testing. All right. So I just want to be clear, right, of what we're working on today. But in that offer, you're going to have a price point, right? And so there's going to be a certain numbers you're going to need to hit to get where you're trying to go. Okay. And one of the things we'll be building out in day 2 is some of your social infrastructure, right? Like there should be some kind of you might have some Facebook posts, you might have a Facebook page. You don't have to, right? If these are barriers, you don't need them, right? Like all you need to create money is to talk to people at the end of the day. It is helpful to have a way to collect money, like a Stripe account or a way to accept credit cards, Zelle, Venmo, right? It is helpful typically to have your offer in writing. So that can be a Google Doc. Like it doesn't have to be over engineered. It doesn't have to be over engineered. One of the things that we do is the infrastructure build. We can actually handle some of those pieces for you and just do it. So if you want to do that, I'll let you know at the end. Totally cool. Yeah, no worries. No worries, Rebecca. I didn't share the link for the Canva, but I'll send out the PDF after the event to everybody so you can have it. So no worries. But the school group, that's the one. Let me see if I can drop that link. The school group has like all the stuff, like the PDF and all those things. So perfect. So Tushar, social media is not needed. It's just an easy way to get in touch with a lot of people really fast. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And it's also a function of your offer, right? So I have some examples that I'll walk you guys through. But like, for instance, the woman I learned this from, her first launch, she had 8 people in the room. She closed 108 grand that day. 8 people were in the room. I think all of them bought, and she made $108,000 with 8 people in the room. I've also worked with people that had 30 people in the room and they sold a $200 product and they made like $1,700 or $1,600, right? So it depends. Like there's so many factors. That's why this worksheet is so important, because you turn one knob and this other one changes. Like if you offer something that's worth $7,000, you only need one person to say yes. So do you need social media? Absolutely not. But if you want to sell something that's like $500, you're going to need 14 people to say yes. So you're going to need a lot more people in the room, at least 14 people in the room, right? Right. And so these are knobs that you can turn and tweak. And what we do is we start with industry best practices. Like if you have so many people registered, this percentage typically shows up, this percentage typically buys, right? So you start with those numbers, you run it, you see what you got, how many yeses did you get? Did you get any sales? And then you go from there. And the brilliant part about this process is that you can sell something that's more expensive, like 5 to 7K, and you might have to go on a sales call. But this is actually a blessing in disguise because on a sales call, you can literally engineer your offer to be perfect for them. So they say yes. In fact, this is how I refined my offer for my coding school. So I teach people how to become software developers. In fact, yeah, Mitch had sent me before this event, Mitch had sent me a $7 offer, and I didn't want to say it, Mitch. But I was like, "Oh, you gotta raise that price." But I was like, "Well, let's like go through the whole process so you can so you can like work through because there's like so many things." But historically, a $7 offer is not going to fit well with this particular method that I'm teaching. I'm teaching you today one method of validating an offer really quickly to grow a business. I know about 5 or 6 other ones that I've tested and worked with. And so if you want to do a $7 offer, that's best using Facebook ads, but that requires money. Right? This is an approach that doesn't require upfront investment, right? Like it's friends and family. You can use Google Meet instead of Zoom if you don't have a Zoom account, right? Like you can use what you have, you can be scrappy, and you can validate your business idea and start making job quitting money like in 7 days, maybe 2 weeks if you have to run it a second time. Like the power of this is so powerful, right? But yes, we want to you want to think through your offer and what you're selling for sure. Social media can make it easier, but you want to use the resources you have. Everybody has connections. We're all connected to other people, right? Whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or emailing or even our Christmas card list, like you have a list of people, you have opportunities. And even if you don't, are you within driving distance or public transit of a big town center where you can post posters on the walls, right? Like there's always a way to get in front of people. Can you go to a meetup, right? And this is where the timeline can be a little bit important because you want to make sure that you have whatever whenever you're launching, you want to make sure you have enough time to get people in the door, right? You want to make sure you have enough time to get people in the door. So things you need a way to accept money. People have to be able to pay you. I know. Um, and I think what I was saying before about sales calls and the importance of that is that you can engineer your offer on the fly, right? And in fact, this is what I did for my first offer. So my first offer was I train people to become six-figure software developers. I quit being a professor and started my own coding school. I realized that I couldn't do as good a job as I wanted to in a university setting. I knew we could do better. We could serve students better. We could serve their job outcomes better outside of the university structure, which wasn't designed to teach um, to teach something like technology that rapidly evolves and is constantly changing. So for that, the first time I launched it, I sold it to 3 people. I got 300 signups. I did a 5-day challenge. My goodness, I did that twice and never again. Oh my goodness, it was brutal. But I launched it. I got on maybe 10 sales calls because people drop off every day. A bunch of people raise their hands and say, "Yeah, this sounds great," but then they don't show up. So I think I got on about 10 sales calls and I sold like 3 people, but I was workshopping the payment plans while I was talking with them, right? I was tweaking the offer to make sure it worked for them. The second big launch I did, the first time I used this launch method that I'm sharing with you for that offer, I also got 30 signups. I got 6 people to show up in the room. And then I went on sales calls with 3 and I sold 3. But I literally was workshopping the offer with them. Like I made custom payment plans. I like wheeled and deal. Like I did what I needed to move forward. And then eventually, as you have enough yeses and you start building momentum with your offer and your delivery, you get testimonials, people start raving, right? You get raving fans. Then you can be like, this is our price. This is what it is. Take it or leave it. Right. And then you start looking for people that will pay your price. But eventually, like you have to kind of figure that out because there's free will in the market. So it's not just like you can charge almost anything for anything, but you have to be willing to do the work to market it. Like that artist that like charge millions of dollars for a banana tape to wall as art, right? Like you can sell anything to anybody. Like you can get a Kia, you can get a Rolls Royce, right? You can get a McLaren. So like car, a car can range in price from a few $1,000s if it's used to millions of dollars if it's fancy pants. So you just have to be willing to market and stand behind the quality and value of what you offer. Like, dude, this is worth it. And so how much you charge is also a reflection of like where are you comfortable selling from? Right? How valuable do you think this is? And I found it like I think a six-figure career is pretty valuable. So I found that. So I was able to, sell that pretty strongly. We've tested a bunch of different price points to kind of dial that in. For coaching, right? Like if I'm coaching someone on how to create a six-figure business, I have a certain price, certain value. And then if I'm like doing it for them, like I have a passive profits partnership where I'll actually work with you to build a six-figure business, right? And that's potentially up to 100K offer depending on how the equity is split, right? So there's like all sorts of different offers. But the woman I know that taught this to me, she used it to have seven-figure days, and she has offers that cost 100K and 250K. Right? It's a lot easier to make bank if your offer is high, but you got to command that, right? And you got to be at that level. Some of us need to work our way up, right? And so this is how we enter that. There is a risk to selling something as low ticket as $7. I don't think this method is the best for that. This method, I would say the minimum would be like $500 if you know a lot of people. I would recommend the minimum that you target would be $1,000. To be honest, I would shoot for $2,000 to $4,000, right? It's gonna be a lot easier to hit 7K if you're only have to sell like two people, right? So thinking about what can you offer that's the most valuable, that's in the most demand, right? That for people that you actually know, right? Because it's gonna be so much easier to sell to people you know. Anyways, okay, cool. Katrina found something at the library where something was announced as a new business in town they plan to be a patron of. Yeah, needed. It's a need in our area where we've been having to drive an hour to get it up until then. That's awesome, right? Like there's so many ways to get the word out. Last summer I did a stint. I did a mini soft launch of Joy of Coding Kids. This is like a remote summer camp where I taught kids how to program with Roblox. And so I got a handful of students. I put flyers all over. I got the word out on Facebook with my students. Like I say, hey, who wants to learn? My kids wanted to learn, so I figured I might as well teach some other people too. It was fun. I can't wait to make that a business, but by doing it end to end, I realized, oh, this is going to require all of these pieces in place for me to be able to do this effectively. So I put on the back burner. I need to clear out some of the other projects I'm working on so I can double down and work on that in the future. So I think next summer is probably when I'll launch that. Like I'll roll it out more broadly. But until you run something end to end, you don't actually know how much work it takes, what to really charge, right? Like you make a guess. Like my some of my students, I was experimenting with price and I ended up charging less than it cost me to deliver, but I charged them that when I was the only staffer, right? As I was growing. And then I didn't realize, oh, I need to charge more because I got to pay for staff. I can't actually physically meet the demand of all the people that said yes. So, like, these are all things that go into growing a business successfully. But when you just have an offer, you don't need to worry about all that. You're just trying to say, like, hey, will someone pay me this amount for this thing? Right? Like, that's really what we're trying to validate as quickly as possible here and to have a pathway so that we can continue to run this. Like, I mean, I ran this launch model for years in my business to help it grow, right? You can, keep using it. Ideally, you want to come up with some other ways to continue to sell your business as well. So super awesome. I love these ideas. But yeah, definitely drop it in the chat for sure. I think if anyone came in late, I'm just going to drop the school link here just because I'm not going into detail into each of these things, but I've literally recorded a video of me doing all of these steps. It's in the school group and it has like PDFs and more of the worksheets and like all the things. All right, sweet. So basically the first 3 days, the first half of the week is offer engineering, right? It's offer engineering. It's figuring out like what it is that we're doing. What can we sell? And we don't really know. Like we just have an idea. Like I think people will pay for this. Like for instance, over Labor Day weekend, I got this hanker and I was like, I got this idea. I was like, man, I wonder if there's women in the world that have curly hair that don't love it and they don't wear it curly. I was like, I get ready in like 5 minutes. Maybe I could share that, right? And so I got out there, threw up some Facebook ads. I did get some sales. They weren't awesome. So I don't know if I'll continue down that path like until later on because I'm looking for my quickest wins right now. I think it's worthwhile. So I'm gonna let it run a little bit longer, but I might just like turn that one off and wait. But it got like five people to say yes, right? It just wasn't necessarily worth it. So it's going to require more work to like workshop it and do the ads and all the things. But like literally anything can sell. Like anything. Like I had somebody buy. Like and so we want to test that out as quickly as possible. And this is going to help us test out offers that preferably are at least $500 to $1,000 minimum, right? Usually I coach students on figuring out offers that are worth 2 to 4K so that it doesn't take as many people to say yes. Because once someone says yes, now you deliver and you need to work with them, right? To make sure that it's delivered correctly and they get the win, they give you a raving testimonial, which you then turn around and can sell to more people, right? And so all these things, synergistically work together. Super, super awesome. All right. I think I'm going to just make sure I can see everybody. All right. Awesome. But yeah, if you guys have ideas, like we can totally workshop offers. We totally have time for that today. Okay. So after you've built out the infrastructure, we've got a couple days to share. I did use social media. I find it super easy. Um, if you don't know a lot of people, you may need to expand the share time. Like I have mapped this out for a week. And to be honest, once you have an established email list for your business, this is all it takes. Like if I want to run if I need a cash injection in my business and I want to run a masterclass, I literally can run it in 2 days because I can tell you after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on Facebook ads that when the sweet spot for a live event for show up rate is 2 days before. Like I can start advertising my event 10 days ago, but the likelihood that those people are going to actually show up goes down every day because we get distracted. There's sparkly things, right? Other life happens. So the 2 days before a live event is really the sweet spot for getting people to sign up. That's why we can do a launch in 7 days. I can literally send out a text message to my list and say, hey, I'm going live on, this is Friday. Hey, I'm going live Sunday or I'm going live, Tuesday. Who wants to come? And I'll get like over 100 signups like that, right? Like once you have this set up, you can get a cash injection whenever you need it. It's really cool. Live events bring in that FOMO and urgency factor naturally. If you don't come, you're going to miss it. I'm going to show up live. I'm going to answer your questions. I am not a bot, right? I'm responding to your comments, right? Like we're actually live doing this. And that has so much power. And it's a really easy way to add value right away because people can get their questions, their burning questions answered, right? In a forum that they might not otherwise be able to ask them, right? So there is a share day. It's a couple days before the event. If like the first time you run this play, right? This is not intended to be run once and like hopefully you do make 7K the first time. But to be honest, I'll be honest, I would plan to run this twice, right? The idea is that within the next 30 days, you run this at least twice. First time is you're getting all the kinks out, you're building up all the infrastructure. It doesn't matter how many people are there because you can always reuse the recording later as a free training. So like I know the people that I know that are really good at webinars and selling this way, they all have stories of a time that they had no one in the room. Maybe they didn't send out the Zoom link. Maybe they sent out the wrong Zoom link. I realized after I sent you guys the email, the link wasn't clickable. Okay, right? Like everybody has like these little whiffs the very first time. They're all the little kinks. But then you do it and almost everything is automated, right? And then the next time you click a button and you run it, it's so much easier. You have the talk, right? You know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. The first time it's a lot of work. So if you need it, you can allow yourself a 2-week window to map and plan this out. But once you've run it and it's successful, you can run it again. Okay, sweet. Excellent. So day 4 is definitely the big share day, assuming the event is day 7. And so you want to lean on your network. This is the friends and family round, right? You want to get buyers in the room, however you can, everywhere you can think of. If you have more than 7 days, you can promote for a week, right? Like if you're not like really pressed for time and you have a little bit more wiggle room, you can allow a longer time. to kind of promote the event and get out there. Social media is going to be fast. Email is going to be fast. If you need to post flyers, that's going to take a little bit longer because you have to physically go to each location and post them. And then people have to go to that location and see it. So, because that's based on a physical, right, a physical movement, that you flyers, you probably want to allow a weekish or at least a weekend because you probably put flyers in places that people go to on the weekends. That's where you get the most people, right? But email is great. Like it could be like a parent teacher lit email list. It could be class lists. It can be your coworkers. Like there's so many ways to get in front of people. And once you run this once and you like have a lot of, or if you've already, if you're trying to sell an offer for a result you've already gotten for yourself or for others, you can potentially go talk to other people that have an email list or have a social media presence, and you can actually have them advertise your event for you. That's the fastest way to fill your event. It's called a joint venture where you collaborate with someone else and they help fill your event. That's the fastest. But sometimes when we're just getting started, I know for me, when I'm starting with a brand new offer, I don't necessarily have like the confidence yet to be able to do that, like and just like talk to somebody. And there's so many different pieces, moving parts to the offer. I find it much easier just to lean on the people I know first. Let's get that out of the way, like validate the offer, and then I can start like brainstorming who else has my people, right? Once I know who's saying yes, right? Hey, Angela, great to see you. Super awesome. All right, sweet. So on day 5, we're sharing and we're prepping, right? We're continuing to share. We're monitoring the number of people. So for instance, on Wednesday this week, I did an initial set of initial posts. I think I had like 6 signups. I was like, that's not going to get it done. I was targeting like 700. I was, I reverse engineered how many eyeballs needed to see my link to be able to get 700 signups. So, but I got like 6. I wasn't what I wanted. So I went out and I posted a bunch more everywhere I could think of. And I doubled it. Great, right? Awesome. Would it have doubled if I didn't do anything? Maybe. But like if it's not where you want it to be, you can think through, okay, what other action could I take? Where else could I go? And even if it's the day before, if, right, if you're doing this again, they might sign up for the next event. They might see it and you start to build momentum and people start to know what you do. Or maybe they weren't free this week, right? Or at this time. And you can always, even if they don't show up live, you can always send the replay, right? So it becomes really, really easy to set that up. Yeah, exactly, Noble. They're cold to warm, right? It's a lot easier to run a 7K and 7-day launch to a warm audience than to a cold audience. So if anyone's a new entrepreneur, what does that mean? Let me just share with you. Like a cold audience are people that don't know you. They don't know you from Adam. So they don't know if they can trust you. So I was posting in a lot of places where I was cold and unknown. I posted in a couple of places where I was warm and they'd know me. Like local things are good. Business coaching groups I've been a part of, right? Like who like I can, kind of talk to and speak to, posted there. But so a cold audience is going to be harder to get people to show up. And in fact, a cold audience, they probably only, even if like 10 people signed up, only one of them might actually show up. So just so you know, like a cold audience, they don't really know you. It's going to be harder to get buyers. So that's why the first time through, we're doing the friends and family round. Immediately, automatically, these are going to be warmer people that know you. They like you. They might trust you, more, and they're going to show up at a much higher rate. You can get away with a much smaller sign up list, right? Of people to raise their hand and say, I'm interested, that actually show up. So for instance, when I am doing an event to a cold audience, the show up rate is between 10 and 30%. What I'm seeing from warm audiences is more like 50 to 60% show up rates. That is a huge difference. So the friend and family round is really, really incredible, right? So we want to share in as many places as we can. And then we're going to start preparing, right? We need to actually have something to talk about. And this is the piece that I've never ever shared anywhere else before. I literally paid $25,000 to learn this framework, right? And the person I learned it from used it to have 7-figure days where she would like make $1 million in a single day. Crazy pants. And I've used it to have 6-figure days and a 75K weekend, right? Like it's really, really powerful. And so I am actually handing this to you. It's linked in the school group. I can show you briefly. I don't have time to go into it in depth, but it's basically the 6-figure launch formula. And it's all the things that you need to, all the components that have to be in your talk and like the ordering and the transitions to help promote buying behavior, right? To help people like learn how to buy from you. And what you're actually doing, because I program computers, what this formula is doing is basically looking to program people for success. It's helping people transform their identity to really align with what you're offering. Now, advertisers have used these techniques on society for centuries, right? But you can use these tools as well, right? As long we want to make sure we're using them for good, right? With great power comes great responsibility. And so the idea here is that you can actually, workshop what you're communicating in a way that helps people transform, right? I'm going to try and like share some of these tactics as I'm giving them today so you can see them at work. But it can be a presentation. Like I have these template slides here where it shows all these different things. It's linked in the school group, so make sure you join that. Here we go. And so I used a Canva doc because I knew I wanted to give you guys a PDF. And so I don't feel the need to have slides. I like having a visual so that I can explain what I'm doing. I think I used slides for a really long time. I also use slides, but not showing them to the audience. I use slides for me and I had just face to camera. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Okay, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. So prepping the talk, right? So creating a basically what a live training can be is it's basically a group sales call, right? You're adding value. You're talking to people. They're listening, right? And they're hopefully asking questions and having comments. And so it's this really great way to get people to like, know, and trust you so that they buy what you're offering. They believe in what you're offering, right? Then we need to actually build out your offer page, your upsell at the end of the event, and continue with our preparing for sales, right? So creating your main offer sales page, preparing your pitch. If you're going high ticket, you'd want to do a sales call. If you're selling something, if you're selling something you've never sold before, I would definitely do sales calls, even if it's only a $500 to $1,000 thing, because when you first launch an offer, you need that data. Like you need to talk to people and you can literally change your offer on the fly to be the perfect thing for them. And eventually you sell this to enough people, your offer kind of coalesces into what the offer is. But I think what I'm trying to communicate is that launching a business is more about evolving and starting with just something fast action, right? Like just massive imperfect action, just taking a step, trying something, testing it in the market. The way you can build a business fast is by testing it, like literally immediately. Can you test it in a week? I know a woman that she spins up new brands, 5, 6, 7-figure brands all the time. She's like, yeah, if I test out an offer and I'm not making 40K that first time, I'm not following it. It's not for me, right? So like literally the speed to market, the speed at which you can launch your ideas and test them is what's going to decide if you can really make that work. And it's not about just like having this brilliant idea and look, here's this brilliant idea. It's about having it and then doing the work and taking the steps and the action in the world to actually make it produce something that's ongoing, right? You may not get that just like massive knockout of the park. You might have like, oh, this is positive. It has some sales. People said yes. And then how can we get more of those, right? So it's more about growing something that people say yes to than about necessarily having the perfect idea right out of the gate. Because literally the people you call in, you can talk to them and they will help you workshop your offer. Like the market actually helps you figure out what the winner is, if that makes sense. Awesome. Cool. And I do have like a really great training, and I think I'm going to run a bonus training just for this group. I have a really great sales training for I have freelancers, freelance coders that I work with. I have a great sales training for that. But the idea is that sales is actually service. I know sometimes, has anyone ever felt like sales could be kind of like scummy, not your thing? Has anyone ever, yeah, Katrina, for sure. Right. And I think because have been companies that have sold for their own good to the detriment potentially of the people they were selling to. Sometimes we have some past history or baggage with selling. I know I did. Like I definitely was like, ooh, like there's something wrong with having money. And so one of the things that I learned is that selling is actually a really ethical gift of service. Because like because you're potentially helping someone transform their lives, right? I'm assuming that whatever you decide to sell would be transformational. Usually things in the, higher ticket, thousands of dollar range are transformational. They help people improve their lives, right? And so like that selling that, right? Selling the transformation can be so powerful that like you're literally helping them. And if you have a means of helping people and you don't sell it, it's like your responsibility. You're actually withholding good from others by not selling your ideas. And so that flipping of sales really, really helped me get better at it and kind of get over some hesitancy I had around selling. And when you approach it as service, like you're never selling against someone's will, you're always selling for their own good, right? And that is actually the key to being a good salesperson. I'm actually a coach, I am not a salesperson. I view myself as a coach, and I am coaching whoever I'm talking to. Let's say I'm on a sales conversation. I'm coaching them on making decisions that are aligned for them. I have this really cool thing that I offer, but it may or may not be right for them in this moment. I know it will help them get there. If I don't believe it's the best pathway for them to achieve the result, I shouldn't be on the call at all, right? I have to believe in what I'm selling. But once you're on the call, you need a sale, but you don't need that sale. And so you can be free to be in that conversation with that person and really help them for them and see what's best. Usually, what it is it's understanding where they're coming from and then helping them see the value of what you have by asking them questions. Because really, at the end of the day, it's their decision, not ours. All we can do is kind of be a mirror for them to help them decide, right? And when you frame it like that you're really trying to help someone reach their highest potential, sales because is like a totally different experience. It's fun, it's rewarding, right? It's like, oh, I got to help that person. And even if you don't help that person, like if you help them like move forward in their life, even if it was a decision to move a different direction, right? Like yeah, like some yeah, it's really powerful, and you can really help people and ask like these, sometimes you can ask like really good questions like, well, like, okay, it doesn't sound like you actually need what I sell, right? Are you sure you want this? Like, that is like such a power move when you can do that, because they know you're in it for them, not you. And when they know that you're really in it for them, sales isn't hard. Right? It's really about the other person. And when they see that your care and concern for them, usually that sells them right in that moment because they know you actually care. You're not just in it for a quick buck. You're in it to help make their life better. Anyways, okay. I can talk about sales all day long. Don't worry. I'm going to do an extra training on how to run a sales call, so that you have everything you need to be successful. I'm going to throw it in the school group. So I think it's down under bonus sales training. I'm going to record one live. I'll invite you guys to it. I think I'll do it probably. I don't know if I'll see. I'll see if I do it live or not. But I'll definitely get a bonus sales training in there. I do have one already recorded. The question is if I'll have time to do a live one between now and Monday or not. But yeah, selling is absolutely sacred. And I think that's the flip that a lot of if you care about others and you care about their good as well as your own, like I only win when we all win, right? Like I want a win-win situation. And if I think everybody wins, then I'm super in and I'm all passionate about it. So Mitch said, that's what I envisioned my $7 offer as, a funnel and market test to make sure people are interested in transformation. Awesome. 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 So you can totally do that. Um, like there is some business strategy about where you should price something. So the one thing I would so Mitch had an idea for a $7 offer, right? There is nothing wrong with a $7 offer. I've definitely bought $7 offers. But the question I will put to you is, would you actually do a $7 offer? So sometimes the price you charge is less about what you're looking to make and what your person, the people that are your ideal client, your niche, your avatar, what do they need to spend to actually take this seriously, to actually do it? Let me give you an example. So I have a coding school and we were running a trial. We were trying to find ways to get people in the door. I was testing if I needed someone to be a salesperson because I don't have the bandwidth to be a salesperson anymore. And so I was like, well, maybe I can create a buying process that doesn't require a salesperson. A lot of businesses are like that. Not mine. I need a salesperson. But I did a test. I did a lot of testing. And so I was like, let me do a free trial so I can come in, see what we're all about, introduce themselves to the staff and the whole community, and then see if it's for them. So I tested it a couple different ways. I tested a $7 trial, right? It was $7 for a week. and I had like 30 people sign up. That was awesome. Then a month later, I did another trial where I charged $97 and I did it for 2 weeks. After 2 months, how many people do you think had bought from each group? Just have a guess. Just have a guess. From that $7 group, how many people bought in? Out of that 30, how many people became students long term? Can you guys guess after that $7 trial? Yeah, no, and Angela knows. None. Zero. Zero actually showed up and did the work. And in fact, I offered the $7 trial. One person paid in full. It's like 6 grand. They paid in full. No sales call, no conversation, no trial. So even when I offered the $7 trial, the person that needed to pay more did. And they're in. They're doing great. From the $97 group, I got maybe 3 signups. Guess how many of them became students? 100%. Then I offered it again. I got 6 more. So I had a total of 9, and at least half of them became clients, right? So I got 100% the first time, but it was only 3 people, right? It's not the best sample. So like sometimes you need to charge based on what your person needs to pay to take it seriously. So offering things at a lower cost doesn't necessarily actually help, because sometimes we need the value, like the investment, to tell us how important this is. It's kind of cool psychology. And this is a way, like, especially if you're, I know, like, I always want to like help people move forward. So like someone's like, oh, I can't afford it. Like my knee-jerk reaction is I want to make it easier for them. But at the end of the day, it might not actually serve them to make it easier, because part of their journey might be they need to have the resourcefulness to figure out how to afford that. Now, this offer, yes, of course, I'm going to offer you something today. I'm also offering you a free pathway that you can use without paying me anything, right? But of course, I'm going to have an offer, right? Like that's what we're here for. We're learning about. And I made this one pretty inexpensive. It's a launch special, and I realized this week I'm probably never going to offer it at this price ever again. But like, I'm sticking to it, right? I want to execute the full launch. You can use price to test things, like, but it doesn't always work. So, Mitch, to give you an example, I tested something. My hair offer. I tested it, $30. 5 people signed up. I tested it $7. 0 people signed up. Although I might not have run it long enough. I might be able to test it again, but it wasn't the price, right? Like a lot of times it's not the price. It's the positioning, because you can charge almost anything for anything, right? Again, going back to the car example, you can get a car for a used one for a couple $100. You can get a McLaren for millions, right? Like same item serves the same function, can have totally different prices. And this is like the idea behind how you can spend like $20 at a pair of shoes on Target, $10 at Walmart, and like 150 at Nordstrom's. Like the positioning, they're almost the same thing. They're shoes you wear on your feet. We walk on the ground with them, but they have totally different prices, totally different value perceptions. So what I would recommend to anybody testing out an offer, if you're brand new and this is going to be a side hustle for you, I recommend picking an offer that allows you to have job quitting money as soon as possible. If you can figure out how to deliver it without quitting your job, even better, because entrepreneurship is not a straight line. Like I've lived the journey long enough. Like I can tell you from the trenches, it's not a straight line. There will be ups and downs. And so like having an offer of at least like $1,000 or 500, it's going to be a lot easier for you to allocate your time and feel that it's worth it, to get excited, because there's going to be a lot of work figuring this out, how to reach people, how to get in front of people, how to deliver properly. Like there's going to be elements in here, and if you're not paying yourself enough, like that, what happened to me is the first person that bought the hair thing, I only had one buyer, and now I got to go spend 2 hours recording a training about how I do my hair for this person for $30, man. My rate's like $500 an hour, right? Oh my goodness. So, anyways, but yes, like you want to think about the price that you need to do a good job, and that your ideal person needs to actually do it, right? To actually do it. So anyways, that would be, so Mitch, I know you had an offer about transformation. And so charging $7 won't tell you if they're interested in transformation, because if they're really interested in transformation, they're probably gonna be willing to pay more, right? And so I would price the transformation. So for instance, I don't price the services I offer at my school. I price what's it worth to have a six-figure job. I mean, I do a little bit now because I've been running it for so many years. But when I first came out, I charged 15K. And one woman bought and she got a 150K job 7 months later, 10 extra investment just in that year, and she gets to keep that job. Like, you price based on the result, not the amount of hours it takes, not you know, not what you could charge, not what like market analysis is helpful just so you're in the ballpark. Like for instance, now we charge I used to charge 15K for my coding boot camp, and then we scaled it because it's actually helpful to scale it because we get there's these really cool effects that network effects that happen where the more people join your community, the more valuable it becomes. And we run an internship where we have like software teams for like real clients. And so we needed more people. And so like I lowered the price to make it easier for people to say yes. But I found like a sweet spot where the rates kind of worked for everybody. And since people are working for our software company as part of their education and training, like I'm giving them a discount. Like other people charge 10 to 40K for what I offer, and I'm charging them like six because at the end of the day, they're also working for us like while they're learning. And so like it just, I'm sharing the win. Like we win, they win, and we share the difference. But like you want to charge based on the transformation typically, right? Um, so Mitch might need to clarify this offer isn't a sign up. It's a single purchase and doesn't require anything from me. It's the same way people offer free PDFs. But yes, for sure, it doesn't require anything from you. But like you can pay 1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 for a digital course as well. Like I know a woman who charges that. She charges like $1,000 a month if you want to work with her directly, right? Or 10,000. Some coaches charge 10K, 20K. In fact, there's a coach I'm flying to see next week, 40K, just to work with them for a few months. Like there's big prices out there. Um, so I would focus on the transformation and who your ideal avatar is. Like if you're trying to reach the masses, like and you want to reach as many people as possible, sure. But if you want to start a business that can pay you back month after month, year after year, I recommend starting higher ticket, something at least $500 or $1,000, because that's going to give you real money that you can scale with. You can always offer a lower ticket thing for sure, but getting low ticket right, you have to have the messaging. If you don't have the messaging and it doesn't sell the way you want it to, how do you know what went wrong? You don't know. So you need the price big enough that you can actually take the action required to scale it and grow it and get the messaging dialed in so that you can sell the $7 product to the masses. And maybe you can make millions of dollars selling that $7 PDF. But to learn what the messaging is, to learn what they actually need to be successful, to have positive outcomes and testimonials may require more of your time. So why not, if you can charge a few grand for it, why not? Because you're going to have to do it anyways. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is like, I would love to just create a PDF and make money. And I've created a lot of PDFs and some of them have made money. But now I understand there's actually a lot more work that goes into making one of them great. You can just have a winner, and that's wonderful if you do. But most businesses are grown. They're not just like you don't just like get the idea. Now you can test it. Please don't get me wrong. Please test it, right? Maybe you have the unicorn idea. I'm not going to leave that out. I've seen miracles, right? Like totally cool. But for like the average person building a business, you start with an idea and then you evolve it. And that's how you get the winner, right? The first year I was in business, I made like 2,500 bucks. The second year I made like 250K. The year after that, it was over 2 million, right? I scaled. I didn't just jump from 0 to 2 million. I had to work my way up because I had to learn. I had to understand what my people wanted. I had to change the price. I had to play with things. I had to figure things out. You're not really supposed to change the price. That's not the best practice. But anyways, if things aren't all lined up, right? Value, your confidence, right? There's a lot of pieces at play. So charge what you think like you require to actually pay attention to it because it may not work right out of the gate. If it works right out of the gate, great. But if you're really passionate about what you're doing, if you're really passionate about transforming lives, a free PDF may not be effective until after you've helped 5 to 10 people get a win and have success. So that's where like I feel like the PDF is really after you like know this cold and you know that it can help others and it'll work for anybody. That's when I feel like the moment for the PDF is, if that makes sense. And then yeah, because ideally you want something that's not going to take any time, right? Um, but at the same time, will it transform them if you just sell them a course without any of you? Um, because that process of teaching, it's iterative, it's a dialogue because we have an idea, we put it into the world, and then people talk to us about it. And so you want to kind of price in your time to talk about it, right? To help them through it, because you're going to get gold for scaling that idea. The messaging, the words that they use is going to be literal gold for your business to help scale it. So, anyways, so good. So, Noble, as a web and branding designer, what can I sell? Yeah, you can absolutely test a PDF, but I would say as a website and branding designer, like you can already charge high ticket prices, right? So like you should be definitely charging, I would say at least 1 to 2K. And then depending on how long you want to service them for, like can you create something for them for like 1 to 2K over the course of a week, a month, 2 months, right? So good. No worries. Yes, Mitch. Yeah, jump on in school. Okay, sounds good. Good to see you. We can totally workshop offers as well, right? I'll let you guys have the Q&A. Sweet. And then finally, you have the event, which is what we're in right now. So meta. But I can walk you guys through this. Would you guys like to see what this could look like? Like how you can actually revert? Because I know there's a lot of questions about offers. Are you guys down? You want to dive into offers a little bit more? We can kind of like reverse engineer this. Perfect. Awesome sauce. Cool. So I just wanted to give you guys a taste. This is my worksheet that I use to plan a launch. I know there's some questions here, but they're super simple, right? Literally, you pick your revenue goal and you figure out how many, you price out your offer, and then you figure out how many people need to show up. How many people do you need to talk to get people to show up, right? Literally, that's it. And then there's some stuff for the sales page. It's literally a promise. I'm going to show you how to make 7K in 7 days and then like 3 juicy bullets. To be honest, the juicy bullets I usually run through I have a special high converting chat GPT that creates great text. All right. So, like the offer promise, you want to think about the value of like if someone wanted to do what you do, how long would they have to learn? How much would they have to know? Like how long would it take them? And that can help you drive your price. So if you guys want, please feel free to like pop in the chat like offer ideas. I'm happy to workshop them. We can absolutely dive into them. Um, what I want to like really emphasize for you guys though is that anyone can do this. If you don't have an offer yet, like if you're a brand new business owner, it's totally fine. So the way I can help you overcome that is you can borrow mine. It's totally cool. I like you can sell this one and make $1,000 for each sale. The cool part about that is it's an affiliate thing, so there's no delivery. So literally all you have to learn is the sales part. And in fact, there are business owners that make millions of dollars a year selling other people's products. If you have your own offer, you get to keep 100% of what you charge. Pretty awesome. And if you want, I'm happy to mentor you on your event promise, your pitch, and your delivery, right? Which we're doing now live, and also we can continue to do. If you don't have an audience, if you don't already have an email list, totally cool. The first round, friends and family, right? To give you an example, the woman that taught me this, her very first launch had 8 people in the room, 108K. Crazy pants, right? She had, I think it was a 10K offer. Or I guess it must have been some multiple because 108K isn't even. If you have a list, it can go faster. It can go faster. So if you already are a business owner and you know people that like, know, and trust you, you should be able to hit 7K even in your first offer, right? Even in your first launch. But if you're brand spanking new, you don't have a business, this is a brand new offer in a different like area of your current business, you plan to run this 7-day play twice, right? If you've never sold before or host a live event, you can absolutely do this, right? If you can talk on the phone, you can do this. I'm going to give you the sales as service training that I've already created. If you want to work with me more closely, we can do practice pitches. If you don't have to have experience speaking on stage. I did find that helpful. Like I was a professor. I'm technically a professional singer, right? So like I'm used to being on stage. I've been performing since I was like 3 years old. So that made it really easy and natural for me to come on stage. But that's not a requirement because Zoom makes it really easy. You're like sitting in your house, right? If you can talk on the phone with people, you're fine, right? You're totally fine. If you guys are interested, so question for you guys are, because I don't want to like offer you something that you're not interested in. Are you guys interested in knowing more about the program that I offer to help people get started, where I build out all the tech for them and make it super easy and like coach and mentor you on offers and stuff? Awesome. Sweet. All right. So I'm going to drop this in the chat. Here we go. Excellent. So if you're interested, we have this really cool thing. I just built it. Your next 7K can be just 7 days away. Again, as I mentioned earlier today, you will likely have to run this play twice, especially if it's a brand new offer. But the idea is that you'll make your more than your money back in 30 days. That you can run this play 2 to 4 times in the next 30 days, working about an hour or two a day, right? Like would if you could make 7K in the next 30 days working an hour or two a day, would you? Right? Like that's pretty good money, right? That's enough to start a business. That's totally enough to start a business. So what we do is we work together. We have this all mapped out as a 7 day sprint. I help you workshop your offer, workshop, your event, figure out the plan of it. Like what's your offer look like? How are you pricing it? Um, how like where to go on social media, how to make your posts. Like I'm going to walk you through all the stages and we're going to make it unique and specific to your particular offer, whatever it is that you're doing. And then we're going to build out the tech for you, right? Like literally, I can do this in my sleep. Like this is what I do. I build out tech, right? I have a tech company. That's what I do. So depending on how many people want to do it, it might be me, might be a team member, right? But we're going to build out the tech for you. So it's already done. And then if you don't make your investment back in 30 days, we're giving you your money back, right? Like this is so powerful. And I've worked with beginners, first timers that they've never run an event before, they've never sold anything before, and they made 1,700 bucks in our first launch in 2 weeks, right? So like this should be a total no-brainer. So this is the pathway we're talking about. So this is our launch special this week. It's 997 up front, or you can finance it for $47 a month. So potentially you can pay 47 bucks. We can work together for a month. And if you don't make your $1,000 back in the next month, I'll refund you. Done. Right? Like pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Thanks, Angela. Yeah, I've been workshopping Angela's offer with her this week. Right? So this should be totally easy, totally cool. Um, you can just use Klarna to finance it. Super easy. If you have a credit card with 0% APR, use that instead, right? But and if you pay it off early, like because you're making thousands of dollars in this first month of working together, you don't pay the APR. So it makes it super low risk, super easy. And you get the benefit of someone who's been launching for years, who's made over 7 figures doing these types of launches, actually workshopping your offer with you, helping build out your sales page, your tech, your automations. Like I've been doing this for 3 years. I have the like automations for an event down. You do this, you do this, you do this. Super simple, super easy, not hard at all, but it can be the bottleneck. It can be the difference between starting and stopping, right? So Noble, you can pay $47 a month, but you have to do it through Klarna financing. I can drop the link in the chat. Let's see if I can put in my information here. Um, let's see. I might have to just put my stuff in here. Let me see if I can. There we go. Okay. So the way you do that is there's this pink K for Klarna. So you would have to check out through their, and you can do other payment plans as well, but $47 is the lowest one. We don't have there's no other payment plan, like $47 payment plan if it's just cash. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Klarna uses a debit card. Klarna requires a debit card. So if you do Klarna, they're going to want a debit card. So that should work for you. Yep. Awesome sauce. Cool. But yeah, if you guys are interested in doing this together, to really, set yourself up for success, I'm totally down. Totally down to work with you. And I'm also offering additional coaching after. Like, let's build an offer. Let's get you generating some money, some revenue, and then let's go, right? Because after you have a successful launch, a successful event, we want to make it bigger. How can we make it bigger? We can get in front of more audiences. We can use Facebook ads, right? Like we can start growing, scaling. Once you have some seed money, we can start to do more things to grow and scale together, right? Awesome sauce, folks. Super, super good. But yeah, excellent. So, what does this look like, right? Because the idea is that you might be working another job, right? You might have other responsibilities and you're trying to add this in. Like, oh my goodness, creating a business on top of that. I have 5 kids. I run more than one business. So, like, it's totally doable. But we try to keep this easy. My target is about 2 hours a day, right? It's about an hour of work ish. And it's an hour actually of like mindset to make sure you are ready to receive that 7K. In fact, that mindset work is so valuable that the test group I ran it with, they didn't even make any offers and the money came to them. Like that is literally how powerful this stuff is. All right. So we have our launch special, 997 or 47 a month with Klarna financing. We have the 30-day money back guarantee. If you're not tech savvy, it's totally cool. We handle all the setup and teach you how to keep using it. For those of you that are experienced, if you already have a Go High Level account, we can set it up there as well. So I had 2 different examples I wanted to share with you, just some stories of how this can look. So I think I already mentioned I worked with a company called Electric Blue. They had never generated revenue before. They'd been in business for about a year, but they hadn't actually, figured out how to make an offer and have people buy. So I worked with them for 2 weeks. We did a live event. It was low ticket. It was $11 to come to the event, and they had a $200 upsell on the backside. So not what I'm teaching you here. Like here, we workshop the offer based on reaching your revenue goals, right? Like we work together on that. And so they made $1,700 in 2 weeks when they'd never made money before. Pretty awesome. Now they have seed funding, so they're going to invest in Facebook ads to get out there more and grow more, and they're going to start offering high ticket on the backside, right? So something over $1,000 as an upsell offer for an event is really really important because you have the most power and influence with someone like when you're live, and so not selling like the best offer you've got, right? You don't want to do yourself a disservice. Okay, so Noble, I would say if you're having trouble with the Klarna, I would go to Klarna's website and see what your buying power is. There's also a firm, like there's a couple options there that you can workshop for sure. Awesome. Look forward to working with you. Another example is once you've been running this for a while, right? And it's not a fresh offer. So I run a masterclass for my academy and I can usually run it, to be honest, I can run it as little as 2 days. I won't get as many people, only letting people know for 2 days as a week, but I can get a couple hundred people to say like, okay, game, I'll come hang out right on Zoom, and then potentially can make a few grand, right? 7K, 20K, like depends on the event, depends on the launch. But like once you're established, this 7-day launch cycle, you can literally generate like the whole monthly revenue in a week, basically. I've seen women do this in a quarter where they generate enough. They figured out how to generate a few $100,000 every launch. They do it once a quarter. Done. They've still got $1 million business. It's pretty awesome. It is like so powerful. So, so powerful. And again, if you're interested, I'd be happy to work with you. Happy to work with you. So, who is this really for at the end of the day? So, this is going to be for you if you want to create passive income for you and your family. If you have a business, coaching, or course idea that you just can't stop thinking about, this is for you if you already have a business, but you want a faster way to test out new offers. This is not for you if you're looking for a get rich quick scheme. This isn't for you if you're unable or unwilling to commit 2 hours a day for 30 days. I know our target is 7K in 7 days, but it might take 30 days to see that. And it might take a week of prep, it might take running the event more than once, right? Like this is an investment and a commitment, right? It can be a really lucrative side hustle though, right? Or it can be a main event with job quitting type of money, right? This is not going to work for you if you're not willing to talk to people, right? To sell, you do have to talk to people. To serve them, to deliver for them, you're going to have to talk to people. Because if for any reason your idea doesn't convert right out of the gate, are you going to abandon it or are you going to workshop it, right? Because I suspect if you have something you want to offer the world, it's for a reason. And we want to help you get it out there. We want to help you get it out there, if that makes sense. Awesome. So if you're interested, I can drop the link here in the chat. I would love to see you join us inside the 7K and 7-day sprint. Super awesome. Oh, here, yeah, I'll just like scroll through this. This is like the secret part of the secret sauce. So I give you my business strategy. I build the tech for you, right? Like, so I'm stacking the deck totally in your favor. This is where we take it next level. That there's some mindset work that we do, right, to make sure that you are ready to have this kind of money coming into your life. And this is so powerful that the test group I had, they made thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, and they didn't even always make offers, right? So, like, literally, the money that's coming to you in your life that's just not here yet, it will come doing this process. It's really, really powerful. Yeah. Awesome, Angela. So, so good. So, yeah. So cool. We have plenty of time for questions here today. I love that. How can I help? How can I help you guys workshop your offers? And again, if you'd like to move forward with us, if you'd like to, just have it be easier, right? Have someone else build the tech for you, then join us inside the program. I'd love to see you there. If you're doing this on your own, like, it's 1 to 2 hours a day following our protocol. It's 2 hours because it's 1 hour of work and 1 hour of mindset a day. But if you're doing this on your own, you're going to want to allow more time for the tech. Okay, so the tech builds out will probably take longer because you might have to use a different system, right? The system that I include the tech builds, that system alone is like a couple $100 a month, and we just give it to you, right, as part of this program. So pretty cool. Love to support you. Let me know. All right, excellent. So how can I help? What questions you guys have? Make sure you're joining the school group. I'll drop that link as well. So the school group is where you can get access to all the trainings um, associated with this. So for the launch day, here we go. For the full launch day, everything is here. You have all the things. And so every day I recorded it. So like, that's all in there as well. Perfect. Sweet. How can I help? What do people need? Are there offers that you'd like workshopped? I'd love to help you. But again, anyone that's here, if you like, I think that's the content that I've prepared for today, and I'll stay on as long as needed to answer questions, to workshop your offer. But I do want to just take a moment to thank you for showing up and for giving this opportunity to share this really cool sales technique that I've really never shared before. So thanks for being a part of this first journey as well. And I look forward to hopefully supporting you in the future. And let me know how things go. I'd love to hear it, how this experience goes for you. All right, folks? Awesome. What questions can I help with? Do you guys have questions? How can I help? Okay, cool, Noble. I can definitely look on Facebook for sure, for sure. Awesome, Angela. Oh, super excited. Yeah, Angela's doing awesome. She's launching her event next week. Just for anyone joining, we're gonna have I'm actually traveling next week, so we're gonna have a week of prep work where we're gonna go back and forth so I can build out your tech. So the 7-day launch will actually start the following week. So there's a week of prep, figuring out your offer, building out the tech, and then so you're actually promoting and doing the event and running it just in 7 days. And one thing I didn't mention as part of this process is at the end of the event, you're going to want to have like a specific close cart date. Like, when does the offer end? So for this offer, I'm going to be starting it and kicking it off live on Monday. I'm trying to figure out what time that is. So Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be kickstarting that journey. All right, excellent. So let's see. Melissa, are you able to help with brainstorming actual products so someone knows the niche they are wanting to work in, but not a specific product? Yes, exactly. Like, that's part of this. Like, basically, I'm not assuming anything when you walk in my door. I'm assuming that you have, like, you want to create a business, or you've already created a business, you want to create a new offer, right? And then we workshop the offer together. So I think, Angela has been going through this. She was person zero, right? Right, student zero through this. And so we went back and forth for a couple of days, actually, workshopping, like, what do you think you could, like, we got, some of the live events that I've programmed in for this launch is to have those conversations, because we're going to dive into, who do you know? Like, what things of value can you offer? And then we're going to reverse engineer, which ones do we think we can hit 7K in 7 days on. This is really engineered. It's an engineered launch. It's an engineered offer, right? We're not just like randomly doing it. In fact, the 1700 for the brand new business, we did just kind of like wing it and we didn't engineer it. And so I suspect we probably could have made more actually. But I was, trying to be respectful of their desires and what they wanted to create, which I always do with everyone when I work with, right? But so like, I'm going to start with what are your goals? And then we're going to like start with who do you know? What things of value can you offer? And then how do we put those things together into a package that you can actually sell in a few days this month? Right. So you can validate it and start earning that cash. So, like, hopefully, this is a no brainer because you're earning more than the investment, like, right away. And it's just making it easier for you to actually start and launch. Yep. No worries. So Melissa is freelancing right now, but wants to create automation and passive income. So you don't have to work so many hours for more income. Yes. And that's a awesome, awesome goal. So what I would say for that, then you're going to want to focus on information products, digital information products that you can offer. But it's also possible that you could start with an offer that does even have a live component because people pay a premium for live. They pay a premium to work with you directly. And it doesn't always have to be you depending on how you create it. So, for instance, when I first started the academy, I ran all of the course schedule. It was all me. I ran the entire thing. And then as it grew and I couldn't do it anymore, I started hiring people that did really well. And sometimes they can do even better than me because they have expertise that I lack, right? They have a genius zone that's different from mine. And so it actually enriches it. But like you could potentially have like train other people. If you know it and you think you could train someone else to do it, it can still be passive even with a live component. So that's just what I want to open up your eyes to is that like my recommendation is always to focus on the outcome. What is the result that you're going to deliver for the client, for the person who's buying from you? That could be served with a digital information product that's 100% passive. It may also be served by a digital information product plus a live Zoom once a week, once a month. I've seen many different variations, right? You want to really focus on the outcome because the outcome may require a live component. For instance, I teach programming. The fastest way to teach anything is through dialogue. The fastest way to learn how to teach something better is through dialogue. So to create that passive PDF that you might sell for $7 to $30, right? You might actually need to do the high ticket route to get the results to be able to create that, right? So like when I was teaching people how to program, I invested like a decade to learn how to program and then 6 more years to figure out how to teach it well, semester after semester, cohort after cohort. I taught hundreds and hundreds of students. And then I created the course. So, and it's worked beautifully, right, for a very long time. And it stands the test of time. But sometimes the first thing you create isn't that, right? The first course I created to teach programming didn't work that great. You might suck at it till you get really good. Like that's the only difference between the people that make it and the people that don't. So they're willing to hang in that rough spot where you don't really know what you're doing yet and move on and get better and learn, right? So like experience teaches us a lot. And so I guess that's what I'm trying to open up your mind to is you don't have to have a preconceived notion about what it might look like to deliver it. I would love to have a PDF that I can just sell for 10K a month. I'm learning how to do that, right? I'm learning how to do that. But what I'm recognizing as I'm on that journey learning how to do it is that it may require working with people in a high ticket format to learn so that you can justify your time investment to learn how to create that PDF that will help lots and lots of people. If you already have the outcome, you've already taught people, right? Like once I had taught hundreds of students how to program, I could just go create a course and I could go charge $100, maybe $1,000 for that course. I didn't have to workshop it because I already done it so well. So if you already have the outcome that you're creating, if you've already taught it to others and they've had success, if you have testimonials, then you can just create that passive product, right? But if it's brand new, it might take you time to dial it in to be as successful as you want it to be. Because to be honest, I don't want to do anything that's not going to make me 10K a month or more, right? I just don't want to do it. So I need to make sure that the value of what I'm offering can get me to that level. I don't have to charge 10K, but I need to have it work well enough that I could run Facebook ads or I could, put it out on online so that I'm earning, my target. Yep. So good. Let's see. So Katrina, what actions are needed to guarantee the guarantee? So on the page, what we're looking for is a commitment of 2 hours a day in the next 30 days. And I'm going to workshop with you the custom roadmap. And I'm looking to see at least 100 signups across all of your events. And so you can run more than one if you don't get that the first time, and then at least 30 attendees. So I'm just looking for at least enough energy that you got in front of 100 people. You got the link in front of 100 people to sign up for the event, and you at least told 30 people about your offer. If you haven't had success after that, right? Money back guarantee, no worries. No questions asked. Is it exclusive only to webinars? So Noble, I will help coach you. Um, I promote. I think the webinar model, the live, right, the live event model, really more than webinar, is the fastest path to get to job quitting money, right? Life changing money, like 7K in 7 days. You can use it for webinars, you can make it evergreen, but it doesn't immediately translate straight from live to evergreen, right? Unless your conversion rate is really high. When you move it from live to they can watch it anytime, you like you lose a little bit. So you need to make sure that your percentages are high enough. So for instance, like my conversion rate at some of my events was only 8%. I was still making tens of thousands of dollars. I was perfectly happy. I didn't mind, right? I could have invested in workshopping it to get that percentage up, and then it might have been more successful translating online, like where it's just a replay. But people don't always watch a replay. So usually when you're taking this idea to evergreen, there's a slightly tweaked webinar model that does work more successfully. It's Russell Brunson's right automated webinar setup. That one tends to work a little bit better, but you can absolutely test this and convert it. I've had people buy off of recorded webinars before for sure. But having that urgency of a live event, having an urgency of a cart close, like we're going to kick off on Monday. So if you're in, you're in, great, awesome. If not, it's okay. We'll offer it again later. It will probably be twice as much, just FYI. Like I'm sticking to the launch special because I already started advertising it out there. But I think the next round that I offer this, it's probably going to be 2K. And I will most likely have some successful testimonials, right, from students. So that's going to help me kind of articulate that value. And I want to allow you guys to potentially use this offer for yourselves if you don't have an offer and you just want to practice selling and practice this process of launching without the headaches of delivery or knowing what you want to create. I want to make that possible for you. And so what I'm proposing moving forward is that we'd split, right? This offer will be 2K, and if you sell it, we each get a grant, right? Done. So I think, yeah, I think this will be great. Yes, exactly, Angela. You will be. Angela's got everything she needs to be successful. We just have to launch the event. Like, yeah, it's gonna be fire. Yes. Awesome. I love it, Noble. Just brainstormed an idea. That's brilliant. I love it, love it, love it. And you guys can always drop those in the school group as well. It's just when you join the program, like I'm going to be working with you like live on Zoom. We're going to be diving in, workshopping this, going back and forth. I have some very custom GPTs that I am not at liberty to share. I've been explicitly prohibited from sharing. It's like this 2-page document that's worth 7 figures, my friend. Oh my goodness. And it outlines some really specific things of how to write copy to connect to people. And so I can run all your stuff through it, but I can't give it to you. Right. And so that's like something that I can offer you guys while we're workshopping. I can help give you some like human language that kind of converts pretty well. That a woman I know who makes 100 million a year on webinars uses. She gave it to me. Well, I paid for it, but like, like that's who I got it from. And so like there's additional things that I can offer, and then I can like some values that I can add when you work with me directly that I can't offer like in the school group, right? So super, super awesome. Love it, folks. Excellent. Any other questions? Any other, like, I know Melissa, if you have ideas about passive income things, I think, oh, awesome, Angela. Yeah, I just delivered Angela's sales page earlier this week. So awesome. She's getting that out there. Super excited. Yeah, you sign up. No, you're good. Yeah, we'll also have to create the offer page, but we create all that. We just like built it. It's kind of neat. Yeah, we just run with it. We go with it. Because this is gonna be friends and family round, so you know them. A warm audience is always easier to sell. So the thing with a digital passive, right? A digital passive type of offer is that's typically going to go to a cold audience, and that's always going to be harder to convert, which is why you typically want to start with the 7K and 7-day sprint that I've just presented to you, because it's going to be easier to sell that then it's going to be to sell something, a PDF to a cold audience. That, to be honest, it's a little bit of a different process that I use. I do sell, PDFs online, and you can find winners that will pay you millions of dollars, right? Tens of thousands of dollars, but you have to find them. It's a little bit more like panning for gold. Um, they're less created and more evolved. And this is really true of any business, right? Any business. Awesome. Super, super awesome. Angela, I know that is great having help for the tech. I'm okay with it, but it's not my zone. Yeah, no worries, Angela. Yeah, like the tech part is like the easiest part for me. It's what makes this launch method easy. And I know because I was not the only person to pay 25 grand to learn this system. And I know the tech was a bottleneck for a lot of people. Because I knew the tech, it wasn't a problem. I just did it. Psh, done. And I innovated some things that they didn't teach us, right? Like I'm not only giving you what I've learned, but what I've refined over 3 years of actually doing it every single month, every other week, sometimes every single week, right? So got pretty good at this. Got pretty good at this. Awesome. No worries. Love it. Oh yeah, of course, Angela. Of course. Love it. Yeah, we just created that earlier this week for Angela. Super excited. And so what we're going to be doing, if you are interested in joining this program, next week is like the planning week because I'm traveling. But like I have a worksheet that I'll ask you to fill out with what I need to be able to create your sales page or your event live event page for this and the sign up. And then we build it and then you start promoting it. And then we do it. And then we do the event. And we also have time booked on the calendar for like pitch practice. So like you can practice some of the speaking pieces. Let me see if I can share. Yeah, I can share you guys the schedule. Here we go. Because we're going to do this live. So we're going to meet at 1 on this coming Monday. We'll kick off. Everything is recorded, by the way, if you do have a conflict. But it just this is gives us the live time so that we can really workshop your offer and make sure it's really juicy, right, to get people in the door. And then there's going to be async support throughout WhatsApp to help complete your workbook. Because there's a couple things, there's some information I need to know. Like I need your headshot. Are you going to use Zoom or Google Meet, right? Like, all the things. And I think if you want to do a Zoom webinar, as long as I can be there at your talk, it doesn't conflict with my schedule. We can also potentially share our webinar Zoom with you. Because it does cost like $80 a month. On Monday, 9/22, after I return, we'll do the live launch support at 11 a.m. And then Wednesday at 11 a.m., we'll have live feedback. And then on Friday, we're going to have practice pitches. And then this is designed over 7 days to get you to the point where you can sell confidently on your own. And after this week, and depending on when people's launches are scheduled, we'll then decide if we're going to have additional live sessions throughout the month. It'll kind of depend on what you guys need to be successful, right? We're going to be workshopping the delivery together a little bit because my goal is to help you guys be as successful as possible, as quickly as possible. Awesome sauce. Super awesome, folks. Awesome. I love it. Any other questions that I can answer today? Is there anything else that I love these ideas? Like, super great. And we want to test them as quick as possible and as successfully as possible, because this is what I'm really here for, right? Is if you have an idea that can help transform lives, I want you to be able to get it out there. I want to help you get it out there successfully, because sometimes people get stymied and stuck in business because they tested it, but it could have been like one tweak unlocks the thing. Like I know a guy, he changed one word in his title of his offer and it went from ho hum to skyrocketing. It can literally happen like that. So I just don't want that to happen to you. When you have a winning idea, it's usually very strong and powerful, right? And you can take it all the way. So usually a word is not going to kill it, but for scaling like a Facebook ad or a digital product, especially, right? It can do that. It can do that. Awesome. Katrina, thank you for showing me that schedule. That makes it possible for me because I need to make a 2K offer. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it, my friend. Oh my goodness. So, so good. But the schedule, like literally 7 days plus a closed cart. So you might have some sales calls, right? Like, so it might really be like a 10-day sequence if you have some sales calls on the back end. I'm only selling $1,000 offer. So typically you don't have to have sales calls for that. But if you want to talk to your people, right? Because you're still workshopping your offer, like, yeah, get on the sales call. I could potentially do a sales call for the next one since I'll be charging 2K. We'll see. Right. Usually to get on the sales call, I want to be charging at least $3 to 5K-ish or more. Me personally, as a business owner, I want to be getting on sales calls for things that are worth at least 10K or more, typically. But when you're just getting started, like decide for you what your time is worth, right? Like go on those sales calls because the messaging and the information and the words you get from that person can be a game changer to unlock things for you. Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Super, super good. Excellent. Any other questions, folks? Any other questions? How can I help? You have me here now. You can still ask questions on school, right? We'll still keep supporting you in the community. You just won't get the tech. And I can't do like as deep a dive. Like I can't workshop your offer with you like the way I do it with the students that sign up for the program. Super awesome. So good. Awesome. Well, this was so incredible, folks. So good to talk to you. So good to help support you. Again, don't be a stranger. I have to tell you the presentation training in school, I've never taught that before. I've never unpacked it. It is like a six-figure launch formula. It is incredible. It's super powerful. So please use these tools wisely. They are super powerful, right? And you can really sell so many different things to so many different people using this framework. All right. Awesome. Excellent. 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 Yes. And Angela, has been a pleasure. Everyone here, Noble, Katrina, Melissa, so, so good to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us. And I can't wait to support you on your journey if that's what makes sense. Yep. Super awesome. Looking forward to it, folks. Have an awesome, awesome rest of your day. I'll talk soon. All right. Peace.